If any of you try and claim to me you captained Jakupovic, I'm not going to believe you. What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of Captaincy Candidates for Game Week 36, a double game week in association with Fantasy Football Pundits, a great website for videos, articles and tips for your FPL needs. And before we get into the episode, if you enjoy gaming and enjoy some football videos and seeing how good or bad I am at the game, make sure to check out JNO FM, my other YouTube channel. Now before we get into the captaincy candidates for this game week, and it's another foursome, we're going to have a quick look back at my predictions from last game week, and I almost got it right. Last game week, I went with Harry Kane as my number one choice for the captaincy candidates. However, Aguero did outscore him and he was my second choice. So not too bad overall. I think what we might do is give me a point total. So I reckon I should only get points for the top two. So number one wasn't the best captaincy choice, but number two was. So we'll give myself 1 point for getting second place as the best captaincy choice. First place would get me 2 points. So I think that's how we'll roll. We'll see how many points I can get before the season is over. Aguero would have got you 24 points if you'd captained him, with a 12-point total overall, whereas Harry Kane only managed to get 5 points, scoring a penalty, I believe, which got 5 points, which had gone up to 10. So whilst Harry Kane wouldn't have been the worst captaincy choice, and I believe he was the most popular, Aguero would have done a lot better for you. And it's almost like we've forgotten how good Aguero can be. However, Aguero may have a knock and not play in this game week. We're still waiting to hear about that. So just a little asterisk next to that if you're thinking of jumping on the Aguero bandwagon. Anyway, let's look towards Game Week 36 and the captaincy candidates for today. And coming in at fourth is Gabriel Jesus from Man City, Aguero's strike partner. Now this is kind of because of Aguero's injury, kind of because everyone thinks Guardiola likes Gabriel Jesus more than he likes Aguero, and it also helps that he costs 8.7 million compared to Aguero's plus 12 million price tag. If we have a look at his stats, he has had 2 appearances in the last 4 game weeks, one of which was a substitute appearance. He scored once but has got no assists. His goal involvement whilst on the pitch is at 50% though. However, there is no El Gagwop rating, and if you don't know what that is, it's last game against game week opponent in regards to the opponent's Crystal Palace for Manchester City. Manchester City as a team have scored 8 goals in the last 4 game week, which is joint third best in the league. Attempts, they've had 82 attempts on goal in the last 4 game weeks. That's a lot. And that is first in the league as far as attempts on goal go. On target, only 22, however, which is the third best in the league for the last 4 game weeks. Their opponents, Crystal Palace, have conceded 6 in the last 4 game weeks and have conceded 36 shots inside the box. Now, Aguero could be an explosive option here, but so could Jesus, and Jesus takes a lot less of your budget up. Coming in at third is Eden Hazard at 10.5 million. Now, Hazard has always been a great player, has done really well for Chelsea this season. In the last 4 appearances, he has got 2 goals but no assists, with a goal involvement of 22.2% and an El Gagwop rating for the opponents coming up, Middlesbrough, of 0. He didn't score in the last game against Middlesbrough. The team, however, has scored 10 goals, which is the second best in the league at the moment, but their attempts at 48 and their on-target shots at 17 are nowhere near the likes of Man City and Spurs. Their opponents, however, have conceded 8 goals, which is the worst in the league for the last 4 game weeks, and have conceded 41 shots, which is third worst in the game week, coming at 17th in total. So Eden Hazard could be a great captaincy pick, however, the points seem to spread around that Chelsea side, so it's hard to predict if Hazard will get a lot of those points or if they'll go to the likes of Pedro, who did best last game week. They could go to Willian, they could go to Costa, so who knows with that Chelsea side, which is why he probably isn't higher up this captaincy candidates. We then move on to second place, and believe it or not, it's Harry Kane. Harry Kane, coming in at second place, has recently scored 2 goals and got 2 assists in the last 4 game weeks. Only 3 starts, but 4 appearances in total, with a goal involvement of 66.7% and an El Gagwop rating, and this is pretty good El Gagwop rating for once, of 2 goals in the last game against West Ham. That was 13 points, so captaining him this game week could be a really good choice. The team he plays for, Spurs, have scored 11 goals in the last 4 game weeks, which is the best in the league. Attempts 81, which is 1 less than Man City, putting him in at 2nd best in the league. And on target, 35 shots on target, which again is the best in the league. Their opponents, however, West Ham, have improved defensively, only conceding 2 goals in the last 4 game weeks, which is 3rd best in the league. But I believe those fixtures have been a little easier than some teams have had. And shots conceded inside the box is at 22, which is the 6th best in the league. However, Harry Kane and Spurs seem to be running rampant at the moment, so it wouldn't surprise me if they scored lots in this game against West Ham. And then finally, the number 1 spot, and these stats are going to look awful, but it's Alexis Sanchez with a double game week. If you played FPL for a while, that just makes sense. Alexis Sanchez can be an absolute explosive player with double-figure hauls coming in a game week, and he has 2 games this game week. His appearances, 4 appearances, 1 goal with a goal involvement of 33.3%. Arsenal themselves, only 3 goals with 47 attempts, 16 of which have been on target. And their opponents, Manchester United and Southampton. Man United haven't conceded many, they've conceded 1 in the last 4 game weeks. Southampton, however, have conceded 7. Shots conceded inside the box, Man United at 26 and Southampton at 38. I know those stats don't shout out captaincy choice, but 2 games, 180 minutes for Alexis Sanchez to score points. That is why he is number 1. Now, it could backfire, you always have the rotation risk, but if he does really well and you haven't captained him, you could really hurt your game week ranking if everyone else does it. So that is my captaincy candidates for the game week, to go along with my captaincy poll article, which you can check out on Fantasy Football Pundits. If you've enjoyed this episode and are enjoying this series, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you get this show as soon as it goes up live on the internet. Also, go check out my Patreon page if you want to support the channel and help it grow. I've been JNO, you guys have been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.